Abraham Lincoln. Welcome to the Today Show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Miss Murphy.
Tell me about your childhood.
My childhood was harder than most. I was born into a very poor family. My mother, Nancy, died when I was 9 years of age from a milk poisoning, and I had to teach myself in our log cabin. Even though I was born in Kentucky, my family had moved many times.
What do you want to be remembered as?
I want to be remembered for many great things, but the main thing I want to be remembered for is abolishing slavery. I'm naturally anti-slavery. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I cannot remember when I did not think and feel that it was ever right.
I understand it took a long time for you to become president of the United States. How were you president in following your dreams?
Born into poverty, I had faced defeat through my life. I had lost 8 elections, failed twice in business, and my fiancé had died. I was at the time a total wreck and even had a nervous breakdown, where I spent 6 months in bed doing absolutely nothing. Then my life had slowly started to pick up. I sought to become Speaker of the State Legislature, elector, and ran for Congress, but was defeated. I tried once more to run for Congress, and I made it. I had ran for several other things and had failed, but then I was elected for president and won.
What did you do to prepare for the Civil War?
While some might think it is absurd, I had actually test-fired some rifles outside the White House with my own hands, not even paying attention to the fact that some could be faulty.
What role did you play in the Civil War?
I was the president of the Union at the time and had played a great role in preserving the Union. I was also the commander-in-chief during the Civil War. I had actually came under Confederate fire at the Battle of Fort Stevens.
What do you think helped you to win the war?
I think I won the war because of the inventions like the telegraph and the trains. They had made it easier to communicate and transport things over long distances instead of having to do everything on horseback like the Confederacy.
Do you think the trains were your secret weapon?
I have no doubt the trains were my secret weapon. They had made everything easier to transport. If trains weren't my secret weapon, I'd say the telegraph is. It had made it easier to communicate to my generals and give them my thoughts on what we should do next. By the end of the war, I had probably sent about 1,000 telegraphs.
You had mentioned earlier that your fiancé had died. Who did you end up marrying?
I later found the love of my life, Mary Todd, and ended up marrying her in the year of 1842. We had 4 children, Robert, William, Tad, and Edward. Unfortunately, William had died at the age of 11 from thyroid fever. Edward had died at the age of 3 from thyroid cancer, and Todd had died at the age of 18 from tuberculosis.
Since we are already on the topic of death, how did you die?
I was the first president to be assassinated. I was shot and killed by John Wilkes Booth on Good Friday in Ford's Theater. Interesting enough, his brother Edwin Booth had saved my son from being ran over by a train. Even on a weirder note, the day of Edwin's funeral was the day that Ford's Theater had collapsed, killing 22 people.
Wow, such an amazing life you had, Abraham Lincoln. Unfortunately, we have ran out of time. Thanks for being here with us today on the Today Show.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
This pleasure is all mine, sir.